Hi, my name's Max. I am deafblind and disabled, and I recently completed my first ever solo travel. I went to Friedrichshafen in the south of Germany to go do some drag and then just have a holiday, which I've never done. So let's talk about my fear of flying, leaving the country for the first time, doing drag in a foreign language, and just being deafblind somewhere else. I'm also going to talk about what I would do differently next time, because I made a lot of fear-driven choices this time. So this year I was lucky enough to be invited to Kulturtage de Gerlozen. Awful pronunciation, I'm going to put it on screen somewhere here. Which is basically Germany's annual German Sign Language festival. And it is so much fun. I understood none of it, but everyone was having such a good time and the atmosphere was fantastic. And I got to go to it, which was also great. I was very, very anxious about it. But as I recently gave a speech about do it scared, do it disabled, I thought I should maybe live by my own advice. So my whole life I've been scared of flying because I've never really done it. It has never ever been part of my plans to travel, to leave the country, to go anywhere else. It's not that I didn't want to, I was just too scared. When I got my passport, it wasn't because I was gonna go on adventures. It was solely because I didn't want to have to keep outing myself whenever I got a new job. I didn't want to have to keep dead naming myself to future employers. I very much just wanted to only ever be known as Max. I'd never flown in an aeroplane before. I didn't know what it was gonna feel like. I didn't know what takeoff was gonna feel like. I didn't know what landing was gonna feel like, and that scared me. I didn't know what the sensation of just being in the air was gonna feel like. I live with OCD and emetophobia, so I was scared for all of those reasons. As a deaf person, I have issues. My ears are just problems. They are just problems. So I have a thing called eustachian tube dysfunction on top of everything else wrong with my ears. But that means like pressure sensitivities can cause, well, problems. It can be painful, it can cause extreme vertigo, it can just be uncomfortable in there. So I was anxious about how my ears were going to feel, and that scared me. Never experienced turbulence before, and that scared me. And I was also just scared of being scared the whole time because I sort of wanted to enjoy it. I didn't want to fly over there and then spend my whole time thinking about, oh no, I've got to fly back, it's going to feel this, this and this, or I'm going to hate it for this, this and this reasons. It was largely and mostly fear of the unknown, weirdly less about falling out of the sky. Fear doesn't always have to make sense, we know this. So my friend stepped in and offered to take me for a flight in a Cessna, because apparently I just know a pilot. And he basically was very reassuring. He talked me through all of the things, and he said that if I got up in the sky and I didn't like it, we could just get back on the ground. And that flight was great fun. It really, really helped a lot of my fears, but not all of them. I was still weirdly scared about what flying in a big jet would feel like, because I know it's going to be different. I still had some fear, but it gave me the confidence to actually step up to the flight. I am going to make a whole other video about my fear of flying and getting over it, but what I will say is I highly recommend telling the flight attendants that you are an anxious flyer and just having a chat with them, because they were so kind and so helpful when I stepped on, and it really helped put my mind at ease. When I booked the flight, sort of fear of heights was playing in my mind, so I decided that if I sit away from the window, I won't be looking out and seeing how high up I am, and that might help my anxiety. But I do regret that choice a little bit, but on the flight out there were plenty of window seats available, so once I was up in the air we'd stopped climbing and I was okay. And he said, like, if you want to get up and walk around and go sit in a window seat, that's fine, just let me know. So I like stuck my hand up and me over there, and he was like, yeah. It was fun. I took lots of pictures. I got to do the one with like the airplane window, and I was like, I never thought I would get one of these photos myself. And I did. I'm going to do it every time I fly. Going through the airport was weird. I didn't book assistance in a decision that was fueled mostly by anxiety, but also by imposter syndrome. Because while I am deafblind, I'm on the milder end of that spectrum. I still have challenges, I still have problems, there's still times where I like panic and get anxious because I can't see what I'm doing or I can't hear things I need to hear. On the website for when you like try and book assistance, and they give like functioning labels to the list of conditions that they can help. So they're like severe hearing impairment, and that's not how I would define my deafness. I'm sort of like, depending on frequency, mild, moderate-ish. But then I also have audio processing disorder, and eustachian tube dysfunction and tinnitus, and depending how all of those things are will also affect my actual ability to hear and understand. So it's that half of the spectrum, whereas when they listed it on the accessibility, like the access booking, they describe this end of the spectrum. So I was like, okay, because I can change my mind. If I find that I'm struggling, I can go up and be like, hi, I know I didn't book, but like, I'm really struggling. This is my first time. I didn't anticipate, and like, someone will help at least a little bit. But I was there for so long as well, because from where I live in Cambridge, I cannot get to Gatwick in time for a 7 a.m. flight on public transport because I don't drive. So I had to go up the night before. I think I got a 10 p.m. train, and I arrived at Gatwick at like 1 a.m. There wasn't enough chairs either, and I'm sure there's a reason for that, because on the other side there's so many chairs. So I just lay on the floor and I took a little nap. Not really proud of that. Took my hearing aids out. Can't sleep anywhere. So I just waited around. Then I went to security, went through, was very confused, but figured it out, copied what other people were doing. Don't judge, don't laugh. But I didn't know I had to like empty my pockets. So I tried to like go through the scanner. I had like my phone, my passport, still in my pockets. And they were like, do you have stuff in your pockets? And I was like, yeah. So proud of that. And they were like, go back, put it in the box, try again. I was like, I'm so sorry. Quite visual, but it was like well lit, so I was sort of alright. It was just me not knowing what to do. But just next time I'm gonna book a flight I can just travel to on the same day, because I was so tired, and I don't think that helped anything. But my hands were tied this time because I had a dress rehearsal to get to on the day that I flew. So I don't remember there being any audio announcements. That doesn't mean there weren't any, but I don't remember hearing any on either side of security. I don't remember. Maybe there was and I didn't hear them. That is entirely possible, because airports are a lot. So got through the airport, fine. Got on the flight. Takeoff was fine, in the air was fine, landing was fine. The pilots came and said like, it was a pleasure to be your first pilot. That was nice. So we all just like chatted together about how that was. So then when I finally did get off the plane, arrivals was just like deserted. I was just sort of like stood in this like empty arrivals, just like, what do I do? And then someone came up and then cycled around the languages, because I landed in Zurich and then I was getting a train across. So in Zurich they speak so many languages, because like I would have just said English please, but they went so fast. I was like, no, what's happening? And we got to English and I was like, oh yeah, no, I understand that one. I just, slower please. I'm deaf, I can't. Lots of like my hand being metaphorically held because I just don't know what I'm doing. I don't know that I'd recommend your first holiday be by yourself if you are scared and don't know what you're doing. But I figured it out, went through, that was all fine. Lip reading in a new country is very challenging, because I want to say especially in Switzerland, because I've seen a lot of memes about this, they speak so many languages that like all of their accents are different. It looks different, and then it looks different with every person. But everyone was really kind, and the universal pointing at ears, especially with hearing aids in, really helpful. Not everyone knows what to do, but I can just like slow down please, or just like sorry one more time. That I think that helps. And I got there eventually with a mixture of that and sometimes Google Translate. And then getting on the trains was fun. Well, I Googled beforehand whether my phone would work in Germany, which it does, but I forgot. I didn't forget. I neglected to then Google whether my phone would work in Switzerland, and it does not. It was Wi-Fi to a point, but once I got on the train, I just had to know where I was going, and I wasn't certain that I did. And it was fascinating because they have double-decker trains. I couldn't figure out how to get upstairs, so I just stayed downstairs, which is one of the biggest regrets of my life. Oh no, I'll have to go back and rectify it. I did manage to fall asleep on every train I got on, which is a risk on on a train in a country with the language you don't really speak. But some of their overhead announcements were in English, which was nice. So when I changed trains, I got onto a smaller, I want to say less international train. And it got to the second to last stop, and then there was an alteration because it was running really late. Basically this train was turning around, but in a few minutes there was going to be another one. But that announcement only happened in German. And I'm very lucky that a kind human noticed that I did not get off and then translated it for me into English. So that was fun. Then I had to be like, oh, I'm also deaf, so can you please slow down? I'm very sorry, but thank you very much. Then she was very kind about it, so that was nice. I got there. I'd done the big scary bit, and now I was just right, I just got to get to where I need to go. Because I do so much outreach, and I'm all over the country all the time, talking about disability and STEM. I'm kind of used to just hopping on a train and being okay, so I'm going here today. And that mindset kicked in, so I think that really helped. And then here's the best part about this whole trip, is that the whole town had been briefed that there was a deaf festival, so everything was super accessible. Hotel staff knew there were deaf people coming. There was a German Sign Language interpreter for the deaf German people. That wasn't so useful for me because I don't use German Sign Language, barely even use British Sign Language. But I managed to get, some of the hotel staff spoke English, so I spoke to them. So they were very understanding and kind, and we got through it, and I checked in. It's like any other hotel, not a problem. I think the dress rehearsal was the most challenging part because we were all learning how best to communicate with each other. So someone came and got me from outside and just started signing in German Sign Language to me, and then I was like, I don't use... I was like, oh, because I also didn't know if they were deaf and that was their only form of communication or not, so I was trying to get a notepad out, and then she just goes I speak English if that helps, and I was like, oh my god, yes, it does. And then I just met everyone that I'd been liaising with over the past couple of weeks, which was great. Really well supported, to be fair, but they did such a fantastic job of making the whole festival super accessible for everyone. So they had deaf-blind facilitators, they had deaf-blind interpreters, they had deaf interpreters, they had hearing interpreters for German Sign Language. They also had the other way around, so there were headphones for hearing people, but it was only in German, so it didn't help me. But everything was super accessible, and everyone was so supportive. It really highlighted to me as well that my British Sign Language is nowhere near where I want or need it to be. Because even some of the German people, they also sign international sign language, or they even signed a little bit of British Sign Language. It was sort of jarring. I was like, oh wow, yep, I'm really behind. And that could have helped. That would have helped great if I could have signed some BSL. But yeah, it was really nice, and then we had anyone who could speak English would speak to me and then interpret for everyone else, which I was really, really grateful for. And then, yeah, we just did a dress rehearsal, stood on stage, we did lighting. Lighting's always fun because what's accessible for me is not going to be accessible for everyone else, so I prioritised everyone else's accessibility, because I had my white cane, so if worst comes to worst, I shut my eyes. Visual snow syndrome causes photosensitivity, so stage lighting is a challenge. But it was fine, it wasn't too bad. And then the actual drag performance, let's rewind a bit. So for accessibility, the challenge was making things visually accessible to deaf German people. So basically that involved me choosing numbers very early on and sticking with them. So I did one that was Queen Bohemian Rhapsody, which I've done a couple of times before. I know all the words. It's a lot of fun, and I'm confident doing it. And then I created, my friend Christian Gay, who is an absolute wizard at putting together mixes. We just started like spitballing, and then it just sort of snowballed into the most bizarre and fun performance I've ever done. I called it Shark Mix Ooh Ha Ha. And it basically has lots of like shark clips in it, and then it finishes with Baby Shark, because I can sign Baby Shark in German Sign Language, because it's not that different from British Sign Language. So we were doing that, and that was great, and then that meant that I had to make a visual backdrop. So I made like a video with like stock videos and some that I'd taken myself, and I made them relevant to what was being talked about. So when there was like a record scratch, I had like a record player in the background. When it was some lines about sushi, it was like some sushi cart restaurant thing. And when it was just like straight up sharks, it was just straight up sharks. I thought it was great, okay? And then I had to caption it in German while the audio was English, because I need the English audio in order to perform. I need to know what my cues are, and I will only know that in English. So I used Google Translate and then German friends to be like, please just help, which they did. And it was one of the biggest creative challenges I've ever done, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I had a great time doing it. Highly recommend. And then there was like performance and costume. I had to pick costumes that I could actually bring on a plane, and then it also took up quite a lot of space because I wore a shark onesie, and that took up, I got one of those hard cases that like the zip is in the middle and then it like unfolds like a sandwich, and then my shark onesie took up half of one of those halves, so like a quarter of my space. And then all the makeup that I had to take, and then is this makeup a liquid? Is it not a liquid? Silly questions I never thought I would have to ask myself or Google, because I don't wear a lot of makeup. Makeup's not really my thing unless I'm in drag. It's about half of it was drag stuff and the other half was left for me. I'm going to share all the other cool stuff I did in Friedrichshafen in next month's video as a part of the Cell to Singularity bingo series that I'm running, because a lot of the fun stuff also ticks off some bingo card stuff. So make sure you are subscribed with that notification bell rung so you don't miss all of that cool stuff. Otherwise this video is going to be like an hour long, and I don't want to edit that. I don't want to edit this one. It's all I've already had to press record again. So what would I do differently next time? I would research the spoken and written language beforehand a bit more than I did, because I focused so much on the German Sign Language part because I was going to the festival, I was performing there, and I wanted to actually be able to communicate with people there. I completely neglected that I would see other people along the way, or that I might land and not know the word for airport or platform or train station. So that was my bad. And everyone had said so much like, oh yeah, they all speak English anyway. No, they don't. No, they don't. Not all of them. That's okay. They're not supposed to. They don't have to. Even though I knew I was doing other stuff. I just didn't put two and two together because I was so anxious about getting this performance right. How do I not know what it is for airport? But now I do. Also, the written and spoken words for I am allergic to cheese would have been helpful, because trying to like buy food in like a shop, and I was there with like Google Translate on my phone with the camera app, just like looking at stuff, and I was like, I don't even know that I can trust this. So that's something I definitely should have looked at first as well. And for vegetarian or vegan, that would have helped too. I do believe in Germany is also vegan. But like it would have been good to know that beforehand instead of going there and being like, oh, this is vegan, so it's probably vegan. I fell in love with their vegan salami. Why don't we have that here? I would also research the food more. I live with an eating disorder called ARFID, Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder. It is OCD based, and OCD based for me entirely. I was not as adventurous with food as I perhaps could have been, and I should have been more adventurous. So I think researching it a bit more, and like maybe, because I picked stuff to do, I should have picked restaurants to go to in the same way that I picked stuff to do. It's like, oh, this one's close. Do they have anything I can eat? Yes, I will go and eat that. What if they don't have that? Oh, then I will eat this. That kind of thing. I didn't do any of that. I did find a shop, and I know what instant noodles look like, and I know what croissant looks like. And then the vegan salami in a croissant, fantastic. Oh, it was so good. I'm gonna dream about that for the rest of my life. I'm so sad. Something else I would do is make sure that I carry cash. And to be fair, I was told I didn't listen. Because I had Googled that they do have contactless payments. So I was like, oh, that'll be fine then. Silly sausage. I should have had just like a little bit of money and a little bit of like coined money. Because I went to the Zeppelin Museum and they make you take your bags off and put them in a locker. And what do you need for the locker? You need €1. I didn't have €1. And then I went back up to the desk to be like, hi, I don't have €1. And the person who did speak English had literally just left. And the person left did not speak English. So she went, toilet's over there. I was like, oh, well, this is gonna be fun. So I was there like typing out on my Google Translate. The couple behind me saw me and then they translated for me. And then instead of like sending me out to an ATM to then go buy something to then get you, they just gave me €1. I didn't even have like a £1 coin to give them back to be like, oh, let's exchange, this will be fun. But they were so kind. Everyone was so kind. It was very nice. So yeah, take €1 and take money, take cash. Don't be like me. I would book a later flight so that I don't have to sleep in an airport overnight. If I can help it. If it happens, it happens, but like just because I can't get the train, it's silly. I live in Cambridge. It's an hour away from London, but I can't get to Gatwick on time. That's ridiculous. But sure, a later flight, and not fly back on a Sunday. It's expensive, and Sunday transport when you get back to England, not great. And it's a very busy flight because people will fly on a Sunday so they can have like a whole week and then fly again on a Sunday so you won't have a chance to have a window seat. Next time I would not be scared, because I made so many decisions out of fear that it kind of like, not ruined it, but it didn't help. So I had so much stuff with me based on fear. Fear packing is not good. I packed a lot of stuff that I didn't use to take on the plane so that if I was having the worst time ever, I'd have something to be distracted by. And I don't regret it. I don't wish I hadn't, but I won't do it next time because I didn't need to take my Switch to Germany because I didn't use my Switch in Germany. It just went for a little holiday with me. I didn't need to do that. I also took a book that I didn't read. And that was a little bit of weight, and it went in my my rucksack the first time, and then I put it in my suitcase on the way back because I knew in my heart I was not going to read it on the plane. So I would just not be scared, and I would make all of my decisions a bit more rationally than I did this time. I would also plan souvenirs and gifts a bit better. I had so many people who like helped me on this journey, but I was like packing and I was like, wait, did I get enough gifts for the people I meant to get gifts for? So I would just like to have like a little list on my phone, like if I'm gonna bring back souvenirs for people, I would like to not forget anyone. And then finally, what I'm gonna do different next time is go on holiday. I'm not gonna go for a work thing, I'm not gonna go for a drag thing, I'm not gonna go for whatever. I'm gonna go somewhere for me, and I'm gonna do me things. It's not like, oh, I have to go this early in the morning, otherwise I won't make the dress rehearsal. I'm not gonna do that. While I'm happy to do that for stuff, and I had a great time and I'd love to do more, if they have me back, fantastic. But like, I think I deserve a holiday where I go just for me. Like, the day after my flight, I'd just woken up in Friedrichshafen for the first time, I'd flown on a Zeppelin, and then I performed drag in a shark onesie in front of about 1,800 people. So that was great, and I got that done on the first day, so the rest of my trip, the rest of the festival, I could just do me stuff. I wasn't on the clock for anything. I enjoyed that part. I really enjoyed that part. So I'm gonna go somewhere for me. I also do kind of want to do a travel vlog. I've never done one because I've never travelled. I've always been secretly kind of jealous, so I kind of want to do one. I've talked for 48 minutes. Hopefully the edited cut is like 20 something minutes. I'm gonna stop now. So don't forget to like this video. Drop a comment if in 48 minutes of talking I didn't address something that you wanted to know. And I will make a follow-up video, shorter, addressing those questions, or I'll just answer in the comment section. Sometimes I am active in there, sometimes I'm not. Subscribe to my channel for more this chaos, and ring that notification bell, yada yada yada. Videos go up once a month. I want to say usually in the middle, but I've been late last month and this month because I'm a busy little guy. I was actually editing the last video in my hotel room in Germany, so yeah, okay, bye. Oh, that's not right. See ya.